It's the viral moment that refused to die, a serene sound bath meant to soothe the nation that instead dissolved into laughter, awkwardness, and internet immortality. When Welsh singer Charlotte Church appeared on This Morning last year to guide hosts through a 5-minute meditative sound session, no one expected chaos. But as Church struck her singing bowls and began to channel spiritual calm, co-host Alison Hammond burst into uncontrollable giggles. Viewers found it hilarious, and within hours, the clip spread like wildfire across social media, hailed as one of the show's golden moments. But for Charlotte Church, it was anything but funny. The singer, who has spent years reclaiming her identity beyond pop stardom, said recently that the incident really pissed me off. Behind the laughter, it seems, was a deep wound, one that spoke to a lifetime of being misunderstood, mocked, and misrepresented in the public eye. Speaking on Elizabeth Day's How to Fail podcast, Church didn't hold back. "I've met Alison Hammond a number of times, and she's a wonderful woman," she said. "But I think it was a misjudgment on my part to do a sound bath live on national television. And what annoyed me most was that this art form, sound healing, which is something sacred and transformative, was turned into a joke. It wasn't just embarrassment, it was disappointment." For years, Charlotte has been on a journey of self-discovery, moving away from the glitzy, chart-topping world that first made her famous. She's embraced spirituality, activism, and even witchcraft, carving a life far removed from the pop persona that once defined her. So, when her moment of vulnerability became a meme, it struck a nerve. "It reminded me," she said, "of all those other times I was made fun of." Today, Charlotte Church has re-emerged in an entirely new spotlight, this time on The Celebrity Traders, the hit reality show set in the eerie Scottish Highlands. Competing alongside big names like Jonathan Ross, Alan Carr, and Celia Imrie, Charlotte has once again shown the world that she's not afraid to get her hands dirty, quite literally. During the show's first episode, celebrities were tasked with digging their own graves in search of hidden shields. While others hesitated, Church, dressed in a flowing white gown, knelt down and got straight to work. It was a striking image. The spiritual songstress, surrounded by mud, driven by determination. She laughed afterward, calling herself a faithful through and through, admitting she couldn't bear the thought of lying or deceiving others for a game. "I don't like deception," she said. "It's not who I am." Charlotte Church's story is one of extraordinary beginnings. Born in Cardiff, Wales in 1986, she rose to fame at just 11 years old after singing Pai Jesu over the phone on This Morning, the very show that would years later bring her viral frustration. That moment catapulted her into international fame. Invitations flooded in, including one to perform at Rupert Murdoch's wedding, and soon she released her debut album, Voice of an Angel. At only 12, she topped the classical charts and became a household name. But behind the angelic image was a child navigating an adult industry. Contracts were signed by her parents, managers took hefty percentages, and Charlotte later revealed how her family's naive approach to fame left her financially and emotionally exploited. The glamour, she has often said, came at a heavy price. By her late teens, Charlotte was determined to break free. Gone was the sweet soprano image. In its place came a bold, rebellious pop star. Her 2005 album, Tissues and Issues, featuring the hit single Crazy Chick, marked a complete reinvention. She partied, spoke her mind, and refused to conform. But the tabloids weren't kind. Dubbed Britain's wild child, she was hounded for every choice, from her clothes to her love life. Yet even then, Charlotte remained fiercely authentic. "I didn't want to be anyone's idea of perfect," she once said. "I just wanted to be me." Over time, she stepped back from the spotlight, focusing instead on activism, education, and spirituality. her retreat in rural Wales, a self-described witchcraft retreat, now offers women a space to connect with nature, music, and themselves. In her personal life, Charlotte has found stability and peace. She married fellow musician Jonathan Powell in 2017, and together they share a daughter named Frida. She also has two older children, Ruby and Dexter, from her relationship with rugby star Gavin Henson, once half of the so-called Posh and Becks of Wales. The couple's high-profile romance ended in 2010, but Charlotte has no regrets. "I've lived so many lives already," she often says, reflecting on how motherhood and maturity have grounded her. At 39, she embraces her identity as both an artist and an activist. She's spoken passionately about social justice, class inequality, and the importance of empathy, causes that align with her belief in a more compassionate world. "What I feel most privileged about," she told Elizabeth Day, "is that I've lived among all kinds of people, from the very rich to the very poor. It's made me understand humanity better." Financially, her journey has been just as unconventional. Once worth an estimated £25 million, Charlotte now admits she's no longer a millionaire. Having given away much of her fortune, she downsized from her grand mansion to a modest, semi-detached home. "I've basically given all my money away," she said candidly. "But what I've gained is far more valuable: perspective, empathy, and freedom." Her honesty has resonated with fans who followed her since childhood. Far from bitterness, there's gratitude in her words. "I've seen the top of society and I've seen the bottom," she says. "Both can be lonely, but I've learned that compassion is the real wealth." In a world obsessed with fame and fortune, Charlotte's contentment feels almost radical. She's chosen meaning over money, a decision few celebrities make, but one that defines her today. From child prodigy to pop rebel, from viral soundbath mishap to spiritual mentor, Charlotte Church's story is one of reinvention and resilience. Her journey reminds us that fame can be fleeting, but authenticity endures. The viral laughter that once stung now feels like a footnote in a much greater narrative, a story about finding peace in imperfection, strength in vulnerability, and purpose beyond applause. Whether she's performing, meditating, or laughing off her own mistakes, Charlotte continues to evolve in full view of the world, unapologetic, unfiltered, and unafraid. As she put it herself, reflecting on that infamous "This Morning" moment, "I really like Allison, but it touched something deep, because I've spent my life trying to show who I really am. And now, perhaps more than ever, the world is finally beginning to see it."